Coming up next on The Deco Show, we talk with Marshall Atkinson, longtime industry guru and consultant about sustainability in your business and social media. Plus MeTech, Alex and myself give you our top DecoNetwork tips. All that and more coming up on The Deco Show. The Deco Show is brought to you by DecoNetwork, business software for printers and embroiderers. To find out more, visit DecoNetwork.com. Hi everyone and welcome to The Deco Show, episode 7, recorded June 29th of 2016. I'm Brendan Prasner, product manager and evangelist of DecoNetwork. Not quite my full voice today, so we'll see how we go. But thankfully, of course, I've got our two co-hosts to help me along on the show. Starting off with Mr. MeTech Volosson in our new office in Atlanta, Georgia. G'day MeTech, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Really excited about today's show and the guests that we bring to the table.
Yeah, me too. And always starting off with the weather, nice and hot for you as always.
No changes in this area.
It's Georgia, it's Atlanta. And speaking of great weather, Mr. Alex Heap. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Hey, Brendan. I'm very good, thank you. How are you doing?
Well, thanks. Of course, Alex Heap is Strategic Relationship Manager of the now almost EU-less United Kingdom.
Let's not go there.
Too soon.
Yeah, too soon. We're out the EU, but it still rains.
Yeah, well, you've got the Queen. That's always a good thing.
Yeah, great.
And we have a special guest this week. In fact, our third special guest. It's Mr. Marshall Atkinson of Atkinson Consulting. G'day, Marshall. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking me to be on your show. It's great.
No problem. We thank you for coming for us. And of course, Marshall is a founder and owner of Atkinson Consulting. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. And has a very long history of looking on your LinkedIn account of working in the t-shirt industry from right back to the early 90s. So we'll definitely touch on that throughout the show.
Yes, I'm an old guy. I've done a lot, so I'm happy to help everybody get better.
That's good. We look forward to it. So we'll swing back to you in just a moment. Marshall will kick off with just a bit of an update on where we are with DecoNetwork and DecoNetwork Land and the latest release and some of the goodies coming up and some tips as well. So hang tight and we'll shoot back to you. So Alex, before I lose my voice, jump in, save us, and give us an update on where we are with DecoNetwork version 7.2.
Okay, sure, no worries. Get better soon. Try some whiskey. That might help.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, so for the majority of you, you would have probably noticed by now that 2 days ago we released 7.2. MeTech will be happy to have a whole number in our release version as well. That'll be great for MeTech.
Yep.
And this feature does pack a hell of a punch. This release packs a hell of a punch in terms of features. If you head over to deconetwork.com/support, you can find the release notes 7.2, and as you can see on my screen here, there are lots of new features, lots of improvements. One of my favorite features which came out in 7.2 was the flat pricing, which enables you to smash that pricing, get it all set up nice and easy, nice and simple, and of course the memory in the Business Hub, how it remembers the flat pricing being used as well. So that's going to get you live much quicker and get you to your revenue a lot faster as well. So that's 7.2. Check it out at deconetwork.com/support for some awesome stuff.
Yeah, certainly is.
And of course, in our previous podcast as well, when we touched on some of the features there. So definitely check out the podcast last as well.
Yeah, the last one, episode 6, I think it was. We covered a bit of that. So
we did indeed.
Very cool. Thanks, Alex. So yeah, again, your website would have updated automatically. Version 7.2 was a little bit different because it was so big that we rolled that out over a 24-hour period. But that should have more than gone out. It was on Monday where we pushed that through. So all your websites should now be fully updated and good to go on that case. So thank you, sir. I might also give a quick bit of an update on where we are with some of the future developments we're doing, particularly everyone's favorite topic, the front end and the online designer. I was going to mention it last week, and I completely forgot. We had such a busy show that by the end of it, I skipped my mind. So I thought I might give a quick mention to it today.
You actually mentioned this at the beginning of the show.
I did.
You never talked about it.
I got complaints, so I have to now come back and include that. So, which is good. I mean, people are pretty excited about it. So obviously we're pretty excited. They're pretty excited about it as well.
just another reason to watch this episode as well.
Exactly. In fact, I'm just learning from the experts and giving a cliffhanger so people come back next week. Apparently, that's what you have to do. So with the online designer, what are we doing? Well, we're doing quite a lot, and it's been a project that's been in the works for well and truly over a year. So DecoNetwork is built on a framework, pretty much like WordPress and other platforms where you've got this frame that you build around and skin your site, and the site gets generated automatically. And that framework is used and shared by tens of thousands of websites. I think we've got like over 70,000 or something on our platform. So whatever we do affects everyone, which is why we have to really think about it and do it properly. So we've gone back pretty much from the beginning and said, well, what would be the ideal case if we were to write the designer again and write the framework of the website again? And that's pretty much what we've been doing. And thanks to your feedback, and we have been listening to your feedback in the forum, so don't think the posts go unread. We certainly do keep up and read all of them. And through that, we've gone through and we're in the process now of looking at a new back-end framework, which gives a lot more flexibility for the user on DecoNetwork. And the best way to describe it is we're giving you still the ability to build pages, but we're giving you like this library of widgets that you can drag onto the page and have multiple widgets. So as you know, currently in DecoNetwork, when you create a new page, you can add one blank product widget, one design widget, and one content widget. But there's many cases where you want maybe content at the top, then a panel of your blank products, and then maybe some more content below that, and then maybe a panel for your designs. And maybe you want to add another blank product panel and make the top one be hard-coded to t-shirts and the bottom panel be hard-coded to hoodies. So this change that we're planning will allow that to add in multiple widgets and also to set what those widgets do and give you a little bit more flexibility in how you build and design your pages as well. On top of that, we're going back and designing the page frameworks and the DecoNetwork framework itself so that it is completely mobile responsive. And that's not just the website itself, but also the online designer, which is going to be a big step ahead. Now, you could always skin your website and get it to a point where it is mobile friendly, as it is today on DecoNetwork. You start up DecoNetwork and load your website, it'll be mobile friendly. It'll resize down, but it's not necessarily optimized for mobile. And there's a big difference. There's having a website just look okay on a mobile and view on a mobile. Then there's having a website that is designed for a mobile with buttons and actions and a workflow that might actually be a little bit different based on the device that it gets used on. And that's going right down to the online designer as well. Our online designer now loads on a mobile. We've never been Flash-based, so we've always been fine in that space. But we're now designing it so that it is truly responsive and gives the user experience designed for mobile, which is pretty exciting. We have no timeline on it at this time. We're still gathering a lot of feedback and suggestions. In fact, Alex and I just had a great talk with a UK client yesterday about what he wanted to see in terms of widgets and things he wants to see on the new front-end theme park, themes that we're doing on DecoNetwork. So keep the feedback in the forums. Let us know what you'd like to see, and we'll keep you updated on the DecoShow and through our blog as we move through with some new improvements in that space. So, exciting stuff.
You know what they say, Brendan, that one picture is worth 1,000 words. So yes. Do you have any picture for us?
I do, actually. I will, during the show, I'll grab one and maybe show you a little bit of the work that we're doing. If I can remember the URL. It's a hidden, tucked away page, but I'll see if I can remember.
Maybe what we can do is we make a little promise that during the next show we can actually make a little small, tiny presentation of what we've just discussed.
Yeah, sure. I definitely, if I can't find the URL during the show, I'll open up my Skype. If I can't find it then, I definitely will get a copy for next week, and we'll make that a promise for a cliffhanger for next week. Come back. And
so everyone who is watching this right now, if you want to find out, you have to watch the entire episode. Sorry.
Exactly. Again, we're learning from the big guys, right? That's how they do it.
That's true.
All right. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff in that space. I know a lot of people have been waiting for it for a long time, and we appreciate your patience and feedback on that, but definitely, trust me, it's going to be worth it when you see it. So some cool stuff in that space. All right, moving on. DecoNetwork tip time. And Alex, you've got some Photoshop tips in terms of doing dynamic templates.
I have, yes. So obviously we have like over 20,000 something products on the system. I can't even begin to imagine how many products we have exactly. And of course they come all pre-configured. You know, we do so much work from our catalog team to make sure that these are absolutely perfect and ready to use as soon as you sign up and get into your account. But of course, you know, people may have products that are not in the catalog. They may have something that's being custom made for them or something. And of course, you want to offer that on your website. So if I flick over to my fulfillment center here, I head over to my products list, you'll notice that we have this option on the right-hand side called Add Custom Product. So if I click this, we are taken to a form here, and you can fill out a product name. So left for its T-shirt, product code, let's call it Deco01, and then we come to this number of colors. And some people will say to me, what does this mean? Does this determine how many colors the product comes in? Well, actually, it refers to how many colors are actually in the product. So you can see here a green sweatshirt, one color because it's all green. Two colors we can see here, we have black sleeves and a white body, so that's two colors, so on and so on. So exactly what is this referring to? Well, this is referring to a dynamic product. And if I flick over into Photoshop here, I have a picture of a t-shirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly just go through this and show you how you could create a dynamic product and what it does. So first off, you can see I have a t-shirt here on screen, and what I'm going to do is just remove this this white background. I'm going to create a new layer, bring the t-shirt up, select my bottom layer, and just fill that with white. Then I'm going to select my t-shirt here, and I'm going to select image in the top menu, click adjustments, and then select black and white. And I'll be given this pop-up here, and you'll see the layer will go grey. And then I'll just OK that out. And then what I'll do next is I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to fill half of this square with 50% grey. So I'm just going to select half the square, and I'm going to click my foreground color palette here, and in the hex code I'm going to type 808080. That's OK, and then just fill this square here. What I need to do now is match this t-shirt grey to this 50% grey as best as possible, and I can see it's actually looking pretty close. But if I want to fine tune it, again, over into the image, adjustments, and select levels, and I get given this pop-up. And I have 3 nodes here where I can move these around, and you can see how this adjusts the grayness here. So I can, just really fine tune it if I want to, and that's looking pretty good as it is. So I'm going to press OK, and then I'm going to delete this layer, right click and hit delete, and then just OK that out.
So what is the purpose of the grey? Why are we looking for that wonderful 50% grey?
This is going to be the optimum color. So if it's too light, then the colors are going to be, very, very bright. If it's too dark, then the colors are going to be very, very dark. And if it's too dark, you may not pick up some of this. You see the creases here in the arms and the shadowing. You're probably going to be losing some of that effect and detail on the garment as well. So if you're going to be choosing like a dark color green, you just don't want to have, just a solid color. You want to be able to see some of the details in the product there.
Yep. So the system is basically going to take that grey and auto recolor it to the actual product.
It certainly is. Yeah, it certainly
so
is.
In short, you can say that you're doing this to avoid uploading 40 images for each individual color of the product.
Yeah. Exactly that. Yes. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to split this t-shirt right down the middle, and I'm going to right click and click layer via cut, and you'll see why in just a second. So over here I have the left side of the t-shirt, and I'm going to call this color_1, and it has to be spelled the American spelling, otherwise the system's not going to pick that up. I learned that the hard way.
We should revolt as Commonwealth Brits, Alex.
We certainly should. And on the second side, I'm going to call this color_2. Now, of course, if you have a t-shirt which has black sleeves and a white body, you're going to want to separate those out into 2 separate layers, and then name them accordingly. So once I've done that, I'm going to make sure that the image mode is actually RGB, and then I'm going to click File, Save As, and in my desktop, I'm just going to call this shirt. Save that as a PSD. Minimize this, jump back into my Add Custom Blank Product screen, and number of colors, I'm going to click 2 because I had 2 color_ layers. Hit continue, and my next screen is where I get to choose the type of image that I'm going to be using. So as Metek said, if I've got a product which has 40 colors, I don't want to be
Please don't do
uploading
that.
40 images. Yeah, it'll take me a very long time. So we have this your own custom template here. So I simply just click this, click continue, choose file, and then I'm going to upload my PSD file, click upload, and it's going to pull it through. So you'll see here we have select color and select color. So color number 1, let's make this blue cherry. I press OK, it's going to color nicely. Second color, let's go for orange. Press OK.
For a second, I thought you were going to do yellow for the EU colours, just out of memory sakes.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
And I was
Maybe the
thinking
next
that you're
one.
going for the Iceland jersey.
Yeah, sore subject. Alex's team didn't quite win against the football or the soccer.
Yeah, who would think that England would leave Europe twice in 1 week?
Yeah, exactly.
Huh? And so I'm going to hit continue, and then here I could add my product views and add my decoration areas. So let's give it a body decoration area just for show. There we go. Now if I want to add more colors, I'm going to select the colors tab on the left hand side, click the plus sign, and back to square one. So I get to select some more colors, and that's how it works. So now whenever my customer selects these colors on the front end, it's going to reflect those. So that is my DecoNetwork super tip for this week.
Very cool. Very, very cool tip as well. And obviously
Indeed.
that could be literally anything. You could have your sleeve be a
Oh,
different
yeah.
color, your collar be a different color, your pocket be a different color.
Yeah.
And each one of those colors is those separate layers that you've created.
Yeah, yeah, it's so cool, and so time saving as well.
Yeah. Very cool. Thank you for that, Alex. Metek, while you get yours all prepared and set up, I might jump on and give my tip for today, which is more focusing around the front end of DecoNetwork. We speak a lot about the back end in Business Hub. We're all married to Business Hub. We're in love with Business Hub. But of course, there's a lot of our customers out there that focus on the online selling side of things as well. So I thought I'd give a tip to kind of share in that space. And my tip revolves around a bit of a promotional tip. So you've been to websites like Cafe Press or Zazzle, and quite often they have at the top of their website enter free ship to get free shipping available today only, or this week only, or for the first 50 users, whatever it might be. And that's a great selling incentive to encourage a customer on your website to buy at that point in time, particularly with a chance that coupon code may not be available if they come back again tomorrow. So it's a good incentive. So I want to walk you through the process on how we do that in DecoNetwork, set up a coupon code, and then how we can get that coupon code to display in a really cool spot on your front end of your website and on every page of your website as well. So I'm going to flip over to my DecoNetwork website, and this is just my demo website that I've got set up that I use to play around with and test things on. And what I want to do is I want to set up a coupon code, so it will be positioned on my website. But I don't know where my customer could browse to. Maybe they're searching in Google, and maybe they've come directly to the T-shirt page or to the Brianna Tea page. So I want to make sure that wherever that coupon is placed, that it's always visible to the client at all times. So how do we do that? First of all, we have to build the coupon. So you have to log in as an administrator on your DecoNetwork website, and then browse through to Manage Fulfillment. Once you've hit there, you want to browse through to Settings, and then head down to Coupon Code, which will be in the third column in the e-commerce settings section. Once you're in there, you can then go through and configure your coupon code by clicking on New Coupon. And again, for this example, I'll do a free shipping coupon. So if they enter in this coupon code, they get free shipping. But I don't want to do free shipping on a $5 pen or a mug or a mouse mat. I want to allow free shipping for any purchases over, let's say, $75. So put in the code first of all, which is what people need to enter to use that coupon code. So I'll do free ship, and then give it a bit of a description. So free shipping for purchases over $75. Then we come down to the discount amount. How much discount are you giving if they enter this coupon code? Well, it's free shipping, so it has to be 100% discount. And as part of my conditions, it is if you spend more than $75. So I'm going to come down to the minimal purchase and put in 75. And there's a few other options, such as if it's available, to the end of the week or to a certain date, then you could put it in. Maybe it's available until Sunday, the 3rd of July, is when it's going to expire. Then I'll enable that coupon code, which means it's available to be used on the front-end website. Or you could also limit it to the number of users. So maybe instead of by a certain date, you want to limit it to the first 100 purchases on your front-end website. That's up to you. We'll keep it at 0, which means unlimited. Now, at the moment, we've just got 100%, but we haven't specified that it is for shipping only. And that's really important because you don't want to accidentally give a 100% discount on all your products and all your services when you're trying to do just a free ship only. And the way you do that is you click under product availability. And on here, you can specify how and where that coupon will be used. So by default, it's ticked on to the product type products. So in other ways, a pre-decorated product, picture of a garment with a design already on it, a non-decoratable product, like maybe an iPhone or a computer that you might happen to sell on your DecoNetwork website as well, or your blank products that people will design in the online designer. In my case, it is shipping, so I'm going to turn off the products and apply it to shipping only, which means they'll get 100% savings on the shipping only. Another little availability tool is the store availability. Works just like the other availability sections on your products, where you can specify which store it might happen to apply to. That's great, for example, if you're doing a promotion with one of your affiliate stores, like a basketball site or a school, where they're doing a promo to get X percentage off on their products. You can lock that be just for that store only, which is a great little addition. Once you've created that code, you can then save that away, and that code is now ready to be used on your website. But of course, at the moment, it isn't displayed on my site. It's just hidden away, so I now need to let people know about that coupon code. And to do that, we're going to use a HTML snippet. Now, I'm not sure whether you've been here before, but if you browse over to our support website at deconetwork.com/support, on the left-hand side, you'll see a section called Snippets. And this is where we've created and pasted common snippets that people like to use on their DecoNetwork website. Like, for example, changing the large pop-up add button text, or creating a pop-up dialog on your page, or removing the blank product designer link on the creating listing. There's a whole bunch of things that we get asked for quite frequently that require a bit of HTML or CSS coding. So we make that available as a snippet that you can copy and paste and put onto your DecoNetwork website yourself. And one of those down the bottom is creating a floating promotional bar for the top of your site. Now, if you click on any of those snippets, it takes you through, gives you a bit of a preview of exactly what you're going to create. In this case, it's making this little floating bar on the top of your website. And then it gives you the code that you need to put on your website. So it's got the HTML code, followed soon after that by the CSS code. So where do we put that on your site? First of all, I'll grab the HTML code and I'll copy that. Then I'll go back to my DecoNetwork website and I'll open up Manage in a brand new window to keep my homepage still open. Once you've gone to Manage of your particular website you want to add it to, go down to Website Settings and click on HTML. Now, if you're using the standard DecoNetwork template, then the first thing you need to do is click to override that as a custom layout. What that does is it takes a copy of the default template and lets you go and make some changes to it. Now, at this point, if you're not really a code person and this is your first time doing this, there's a few things you can do. Number one, you can start up a brand new affiliate store and just test on it first to make sure that the code works fine and that you don't break anything and everything looks good. Or the second option, which I do quite frequently, is just copy that out, open up a notepad and paste it in so you've got a local copy of it just in case you need to go back in and paste it in and override it later down the track. But in this case, I'm pretty confident with what I'm doing, so I will follow the instructions, and it says to insert a few carriage returns after the body and then paste in the following HTML code. So again, I'll copy that and I'll look for the body tag in my HTML and scroll down, and there's the beginning of the body tag, and put a couple of lines and paste in that and save and close that away. So I put in the HTML. If I go back and refresh my website, just to show you what happens as we do that, it now puts this little text up here in the corner, which looks pretty ugly and is kind of useless. And when I scroll down, it goes away. So we put in the HTML, but what makes a HTML look awesome is the CSS that makes it style up and be good. And that's what we've also included on that snippet page as well. So now I grab this CSS code, copy that, again go back to our manage website, go back to website settings, and this time click on Customize Template CSS. And then I need to paste in this CSS. I'm just going to put it at the top so I know where it is, so I can get rid of it a bit later on my demo site. Paste in that code, and then go down and save and continue that away. Now that I've added the CSS, let's see what it does to that little bit of HTML that we put at the top. We refresh that page, and now it's started up to look a little bit better. So now I've got this black bar at the top, it's sitting there, and if I scroll down, it's also floating. Now, don't be concerned that it's floating out here in space. It's because I'm logged in as the manager and I've got this big bar at the top. Your customers won't see that, so it won't float for them. It'll always be at just the top of their page, and it won't seem to float out here in space. It's just an administration view that you see that. Now, of course, this text is pretty useless. It doesn't say what I need it to say. It just says, this is your floating bar, enter your text here. That's because that was the default text that came with that bit of HTML code that we pasted in. So I'm now going to go back to website settings, click on Customize Template HTML, scroll down to where I inserted that bit of code, and I'm just going to change that default text. And I'm going to put enter coupon code free ship to get free shipping. Offer ends July 3rd. And then I save that away. And now if I come here and log out of my DecoNetwork website to see it as a customer would, we've now got this enter coupon code free ship to get free shipping, offer ends July 3rd. So no matter whatever page they're browsing on, be it that it's a home page or the create page or any page, or equally important, the shipping page and the checkout page, they're going to have that promotion there all the time. And that literally can be anything. It could be we're closing for Christmas, or we're having a special, or we're having a webinar, or we're doing whatever you want. It could be literally anything that you place on the top, and you can go in and easily customize it at any point in time and have a little floating promotional toolbar on the top of your website. That's my Deco tip for today.
That's awesome. Thanks, Brendan.
There's no way I'm going to beat those.
That is a real dad's t-shirt. I think if you have a daughter, then
yes.
you probably also have one of those t-shirts as well. A birthday present or a Father's Day gift.
Very true. This is quite an old photo. She was about probably, I'd say probably about 8 months maybe, or 12 months at this time. She's now 7, so yeah, time flies, right? All right.
Sure.
Thanks, guys.
There's no way I'm gonna beat that with my tip, but I will try, even though I know I'm not gonna be successful on this. That said, before I will go to my tip, I just wanted to mention I have some experience with going through some of the tutorials in the past where someone told me click here and then you'll be able to do that. And when I was looking at my system, I didn't see this option. And that usually creates a lot of frustration. So I think it's worth mentioning that if you guys are on the Business Plus plan, you're not on the Stores plan, you will have to enable the custom HTML and CSS add-on first.
Yes.
In order to actually see this option. Which add-ons are actually available to you in the Managed Fulfillment.
Yep.
So learn on my own experience. Okay, so let me share my screen here really quick. I think we have a lot of love for front end today, because my tip is also going to be related to the front end. Most of you guys who are already went through the process of setting up a DecoNetwork account and your online presence, you were able to add some of the designs to the system, and this is just the example of those designs in your primary account. So those designs specifically, those are most likely stock designs. If you go to the Manage Fulfillment and you will click on the stock designs, you can either upload your own designs or you can choose one of the DecoNetwork collections from Digital Art Solutions, Rival Art, OESD, and more. Great Notions also, that includes. The thing about the stock designs is if you are on the Stores plan and you have, let's say, 10 or 20 different stores in your network, but you want your stock designs to be available only in your primary store or only in your selected stores, you need to disable them, because by default stock designs are available to all of your stores. And here's how you can do it. If you will go to websites in Manage Fulfillment and then select one of the stores in your network, and please disregard the naming, it's my testing account and that's why I use test word a lot. In your case this will be an actual website. Once you click Manage, you need to look for the option that is called Online Designer Settings. And under Online Designer Settings, there is a checkbox, Change Default Settings for the Designer. When you do that, the next thing that you can actually do a lot of things here, a lot of very interesting things, but the option that we're looking for is called Show Stock Designs. So you want to make sure that this option is disabled here. And because that change is done on the store level, you will disable the stock designs only for that one particular store, which is my tip for today. But your follow-up question might be, okay, but what about the store? The fact that I don't want to offer my stock designs doesn't mean that I don't want to have any designs at all. And there is a solution to that as well, and it's called Store Designs. So if you will click on the Store Designs, you can actually upload images from here or artworks from here only for that one particular store. So no other stores will be able to see those designs. That is also the primary difference between the stock designs and store designs. And I'm pretty sure Brendan or Alex, you may have some experience with those questions as well. I know I had some. What is the difference between the stock designs and store designs? So that is the primary difference. Stock designs, this is the global setting, and by default you're adding designs to all of the stores. So you will have to individually exclude them from any stores that in which you don't want them to be active.
Yeah.
Versus if you click Manage and you go to the store setup, you can click on Store Designs, and then you can feel very comfortable that you will not affect any other stores with anything that you have uploaded here. And that was my tip for today.
Very cool. Thanks, Mitek. Yeah, another way I also like to describe it as well is whatever designs you put into your stock designs, be comfortable and okay that anyone in the world can use that on any web store. So you definitely don't want to put customer logos in stock designs. But you would possibly want to put the customer's logo on their own store if you were making a store for Coca-Cola, for example, like a staff uniform store for them. You'd be fine to put the logo in their particular store because it'll only be available for them, but won't be available to everyone in the world. So it's another way to think about it as well. All right, thank you, sir. Well, this has come to the part of the show which we, I think, enjoy the most, where we actually get to speak to people who actually know what they're doing. And like us, we kind of fumble our way through life and enjoy it as we go along. And, of course, we have Marshall with us. So thanks, Marshall, for hanging around and listening to our tips for today. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about Deco as well.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. You guys know your stuff.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. We have a lot of fun doing it. So, Marshall, what we really like doing as well is getting a good understanding of our guests, where they come from, what got them into this crazy industry we call the decoration industry, and I guess what they're passionate about and makes them tick. So, if you don't mind just giving us a bit of a history on how you got in here and what led you to where you are today.
Well, like everybody else in this industry, I backed into it. I didn't really start off doing this. When I was a long time ago in early 1990s, I went to graduate school to become an architect, and I created a t-shirt business to sell shirts to students and had a local company print them for me, and I had some friends sell them, and I did all the design work, and that's how I got started and really enjoyed it and decided, you know what, I don't want to be an architect, I just want to do shirts. And started working for a company as their art director and did that for 14 years and grew that company, helped them grow. But I was always the guy who said, hey, you know, there's a better way of doing this or there's a better way of doing that. And I got promoted to Vice President of Operations, and that's when I started my sustainability journey and got really hooked into lean manufacturing and a lot of big projects like that. I left that company in 2010. I started my consulting company then and moved to Milwaukee to become the chief operating officer for a really big decorator there, and was there for 5 years. I just left there, and now I just moved to Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm doing consulting full time and helping shops all over the United States. Really, it's a lot of fun. So that's kind of my career in a nutshell. So.
Very cool. Yeah, you're actually right. It is a reoccurring trend that people fell into this industry by mistake.
ducked into a trap.
Yeah, very sticky trap. And it's actually not until you're in the industry do you realize that the industry is everywhere. The clothing you wear, the mouse you use, the monitor, the TV, everything is decorated in some way with a logo, and this industry is literally everywhere.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what's really interesting is there's so many different niches. There's people who do retail, there's people who do schools or universities, there's people who do business to business, there's people who do their own designs and that's all they do, and there's people who just do contract printing, there's tiny little shops, there's huge mammoth companies with hundreds of employees. It seems like there's just room for everybody, and that's what's so unique about it. But what's really funny is everybody kind of shares some of the same problems, and that's kind of where where I fit in, is helping people smooth those road bumps out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess where we found you was online, as most people do these days, and through your blog, AtkinsonShirt.com, which if you haven't gone and checked out, we definitely recommend you do that. And you got some great articles which cover a lot of things that we definitely going to have to get you back multiple times to go through some of these great topics. But two things you mentioned there which I'd love to talk a little bit about and learn more about is you mentioned about sustainability, and that's something I know you're definitely passionate from, and following you on Twitter and seeing your posts there as well. And also a bit about your most recent post which caught our attention in particular was the 4 ways to promote your shop using social media. So I guess starting off with sustainability, give us a rundown. What does that mean, and how can we be better businesses today?
Sure. Well, to me, for T-shirt shops or even embroidery, the where sustainability comes in, and there's lots of people who are the tree-hugging, Birkenstock-wearing, long-hair hippie types. That's one type of being green, and that's great. But I think for a business owner, where you want to look at sustainability is lowering operating costs. And that's how I kind of got in, because most of the time customers don't hand over more money as much as you want to have a price list increase or go up in your pricing. That's really hard to do. So my challenge has always been, and that's how I've been employed for the last couple of years, is saving people money, and sustainability is a great tenet on that. And that's because when you increase your efficiency, when you lower your operating costs, and you're able to get more things through the pipe every day, you make more money at the end of the day. So where sustainability comes in is we're using better performing consumables, ink or press wash or emulsion or whatever. We're being more efficient, so we're getting more things done per day. That's sustainable. We're looking at our facility, so we're switching to LED lighting, or we're looking at replacing older equipment, or we're looking at how we're actually doing things in our shops. So can you eliminate masking tape? Can you make sure your printers don't turn their flash units on their presses just because they walked in the door? Maybe they're printing white shirts. Maybe they don't need the flash unit until they print a black shirt. So it's just how you're looking at your processes and what you're doing and making constant, really good decisions. Because when you talk to people in shops, a lot of times they'll tell you, well, why do you do that? It's like, well, we've always done it that way. It's one of the things I kind of train people on is asking why a lot. And so why do you do this or why do you do that? And so there's a big thing that's called 5 why, which is just start asking why 5 times. Why did this happen? Well, we did it this way. Well, why did you do it that way? Well, we didn't have a procedure. Well, why didn't you have a procedure? And it's just you keep going backwards, and actually you realize at the end of the day it's always your fault. But but you want to make those changes. Those changes make you a better facility. And if you can eliminate that problem from happening again or recurring again, then you've solved that problem, you've lowered their operating costs, and it's better forever. So it's like the gift that keeps on giving, which is why you want to look into sustainability. So it's not just recycling your soda cans.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, but it's just about doing better, looking at things, having continuous improvement projects or ideas, looking at equipment, talking to your suppliers. There's all types of ways that you can be doing that. And so I've been a big proponent of sustainability for a long time. And in these days, in the business climate, look at your major players, your major retailers, your major apparel brands. Go to their website, look at what they're doing and why they're doing it, and you'll see that, they saved $500 million last year because they switched to a new something or whatever.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, well, I'm this little bitty guy, so maybe I can save $15,000 or $20,000. Well, guess what? If that's half, that could be half of somebody's salary, or maybe that everybody gets more money next year, or you can help buy that new computer-to-screen system or whatever you want. This is how you fund all that, is because you start down this road.
Yeah. That's really, really true, and it's quite funny. We've been having that similar conversation with our clients, and you touched on it earlier. There's two ways you can make more money: increase your prices or cut your cost. The second one is going to have an impact. Not everyone's going to like your price increases. It could actually drive sales down. The second one is going to make everyone happy. Customers are going to still get the same product and service at the great value that you're already giving them, but you're making more money because you've just done things. What's the old saying? Doing less, or doing more with less.
Right. Well, it's not just getting the same product. A lot of times there's improvement. So, like, instead of buying the cheapest white on the market, maybe you buy a more expensive white ink, but it works better. And that way you don't have to double stroke it, or maybe it's how you print out white ink. So you use the correct screen tension, the correct mesh, the correct squeegee durometer, the correct angle, just the process you do things. And so you're actually printing faster, you're actually printing with better speed, and you're actually getting a more brilliant white on better, and so you have a better shirt quality. All of that is sustainable. So, quality is hugely tied into that. So it isn't just doing more with less. Sometimes it's doing better with less.
Yeah, for sure. And we've through our own webinar series we're doing, and Alex touches on this last night, 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago, it feels like. Oh wait, I only was. When we're doing the Business Hub webinar, and we did an ROI to our clients, and by not necessarily reinventing everything, but by doing things better and more efficiently through Business Hub, our clients told us through their survey that they've reduced their time and cost of creating an order by 70%. So that's a huge savings.
That's great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is actually a very nice article on your blog, Marshall. It's called "Warning: There is a Thief in Your Shop." I enjoyed that article very much. So every one of you guys out there, if you can jump in and read this through, it really makes sense. From my perspective, there's also a risk. How much risk you take. Everyone who is the business owner, you always have to calculate your risk that you're doing this. And from my perspective, it's always better to make, $500,000, to spend $500,000 and make $600,000, versus you spend 1 million and you make 1.1 million. Because at the end of the day, the net is still the same. However, if something wrong is gonna happen, the risk involved in this process is much lower, so you can sleep better, not worrying too much about the things as much. If you are looking at your spending more than making, and some people, let's be realistic about it. Reducing your cost is not as sexy as increasing your profit, so you really have to put your mind into it. At least that's my opinion about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Just a question for you there, Marshall.
Yeah.
Where would you suggest starting first? In a warehouse, someone's printing, we have so much going on. It's easy to, try and think of everything all in one go, where you can cut costs. But where would you actually advise starting first? Where would be, in your experience when you go and consult, what is the most common thing that you actually aim for first?
Well, that's a very great question, Alex. It really depends on the company's mindset, I would say. If you're starting a sustainability journey, I would recommend first was getting a committee together a group of people from the company who are interested in it, because let me tell you, you can't be the sustainability police. Like, I can't go around, turn off lights, and tell people what to do. You have to get people who are interested in making the change and are willing to be the evangelists for it and help promote what you're doing. That's the first step. And then what you do is you go around and, as a group, decide what is the low-hanging fruit. Okay, is the low-hanging fruit going to be our process? So we're going to work on being more efficient? Is it just going to be, you know what, we can get a grant from the local utility to switch out our lighting, so because we have these old metal halide lights that suck up a lot of electricity, and we're going to get a grant for, because there's tons of money out there, to go to LEDs, and then that makes the best sense. And then what you do is you do the easy things first. You don't do the really hard things. You do the easy things, and then you get good traction with that. And once you get going with it, you say, you know, hey, we saved this amount of money, or we did this, or that was an easy project. And then you build up a lot of momentum and speed. If you start off with the really hard stuff, what's going to happen is you're going to get stuck, and then nobody's going to want to do it. And then 3 months later, you go, well, that didn't work. Okay? So do the easy things that you think you can achieve. If an easy thing is putting a recycled paper can by the copier, then that's what you start with. Start with the easy things. Start with putting a motion sensor in your bathrooms or your break room or your supply room, because guess what? People can't remember to turn the lights off. You know, and so you can go to the hardware store, and for $30 or whatever it is in pounds these days, because of the craziness you have over there.
No longer the
£2.50. you can you know, buy a little gizmo that's going to help you do better, and then once you make that change, guess what? That change always pays out. And so you have to really, and I would get the owners involved. I would certainly get the accounting people involved, because they're going to help you with the ROI and do all the math. You know, production people are all about getting things out the door. They're not really about how much money something's going to cost or what's the payback. So you want to get a lot of people involved, and you get the people on the floor involved, and that helps you deliver on that change that you want to seek.
Yeah. So I guess as a part of that change process, you know, you mentioned about getting multiple team members involved. One of the challenges always with any form of change is change management or change resistance.
Right.
And often that's just simply because someone felt they were excluded from a process, or now someone's telling me how to do my job.
Right.
So I guess possibly having stakeholders from each department represent on that committee would be a good way to approach that.
Yeah, correct. And as anybody's read my blog before, I love quotes, and there's a great quote that is, man supports what he helps create, right? So if you get people involved in it, they're apt to help resolve it. And so that's always a good way to go.
That's good. So, Marshall, you kind of touched on this topic already, but based on your experience, if you would have to name three most common mistakes that people don't even realize that they do, what would that be?
Mistakes doing what?
Day-to-day operations and running the business.
Okay, the biggest ways you can impact your shop is, one, not having a good receiving team. Okay, because you just ordered shirts from Sanmar or S&S or your local distributor or wherever they're coming in, and they need to be checked in the same day they come in against the packing slip, against the order that you received, to make sure that everything is correct, because you know what that is? That isn't a box or two or three or a skid of shirts. That's a box of money. A box of money. And so what happens, so the worst thing you can do is you go to print that job or go to embroider that job, and guess what? They're not military green shirts that you ordered for that job. Guess what? They're purple. That's the worst, and you're supposed to, the job's due tomorrow, so what are you going to do now? The best thing to do is to crack that box open, check it against size, color, style, make sure it's exactly correct, and that's a huge time saver for your production team, because frankly the printers and the embroiderers, they always get short-shafted on time because of the front end of getting the order right. So if you can get the shirts correct and make sure they're right, and if they're wrong, hey, you're on the phone going, hey, I got a problem. These are purple. They're not military green. What are you going to do? And get it resolved. That's probably my top thing right there. The second is to make sure, from a production standpoint, you've got good notes in your system. And by what I mean by that is, a lot of people touch it. You should have your notes on your work orders created so anybody can pick up that order and know exactly what has to be done. And if you don't have good notes in there, anybody who has to take your sheet, walk it up to the front and go, hey, what does this mean? It means you didn't fill out your order right, is what it means. Because you should know exactly how many inches from the collar the thing is supposed to print. What are the Pantone colors? What's the print order? What's the mesh count? When is it due? How many different locations is it? How big is the art? Is it the same art for adult and youth? If there's drop names, like the city or whatever underneath the design, maybe it's the same design for 4 different cities: Chicago, London, Rio, and Sydney. So each one of those gets a different set of shirts. How many for quantities? All that kind of stuff. It's really important that your production team can break that down and understand what they're supposed to be doing, so you can move faster if everything's on the page. Now, to get everything on the page requires lots of training, lots of accountability, lots of discussion about what do things mean, where should it be on the page, what is the exact note. And so, getting your art staff trained to pick out the mesh counts, that's a month worth of training right there, And so it's like one of these things where getting what I call all the canoes to go in the same direction, that's super important. So that's 2. So what's the third one? I guess would be communication. Having people talk to each other. That's a huge one, because a lot of people, especially as your shop grows in size and complexity, they start having this, what I call the defend the castle mentality, where they go, it's not my fault, it's your fault. And so what you want to do is you want to be able to communicate and try to solve their problem before it gets to them. What I mean by that is, let's say you put the order in, you want to give great instructions to the art team so the art team doesn't have to ask you any questions on how to design something. If you're the art guy, you want to make sure the screen room knows what mesh counts to use. If you're the screen room, you want all those screens ready for production to be able to print without ever having to ask, hey, I need an underbase plate. This is supposed to go on black. You should all be ready and sitting there before the screen department ever reaches for that set of screens. So it's kind of one of these things. If you don't have that stuff, you should be looking at your schedule early. Start asking some questions. Hey, I need this. What's going on? And so communicating means you can't just send an email. Sometimes you got to get up out of your chair and go see somebody, or pick up the phone, or that type of stuff, and not assume things and stop blaming other people. That's like the worst thing. We're all on the same team. Because if you let your customer down, they're not blaming the screen room. They're blaming the company, and you'll never get that order again. So what you got to do is you're all on the same team and have that team mentality. And that's my top 3, I guess.
That's awesome. Yeah,
That's very cool. Very cool.
This reminds me of what Neil is always saying. Neil, for those of you who don't know, Neil Pentland, he's our CEO right now. He's always saying, be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt has a quote which says that complaining about a problem without offering a solution is called whining.
Very true, yeah. In fact, it's really good you mentioned about the idea of communication and accurate information. It's actually one of the advantages we see of DecoNetwork, particularly of Business Hub, in that things change, right? Things change so quickly. A size gets changed, a location gets changed, a color gets changed. And if someone doesn't go out the back and pick up that bit of paper and manually change that bit of paper, there's every opportunity that what's about to happen on that machine is going to be wrong. So for us, one of the big advantages of Business Hub is not only it's all electronic, it's live, it's updated, it's on the screen of the operator, and we're saving paper. We're not printing off sheets of things that eventually will just get thrown away or shredded. So
right, that's great. That's great.
And we promise this is not scripted.
No. I'm nodding my head. I've been in that space many times. I mean, so when I was in doing screen printing and embroidery, we had nothing that was electronic. Everything was printed out or handwritten on carbon copy paper. And if you had a big complicated job that went over a week, and you typically knew when you're speaking to the customer to leave lots of room on that space, because they're going to call back 3 or 4 times, that when your first conversation with a customer, and do lots of changes, and that's okay, right? That's your job. Our job is to handle those changes and make sure the client gets what they want. But it can often lead to very costly mistakes if they're not kept up to date. So.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks, guys, for this question. That was great. What I do want to finish up on, because we've nearly hit an hour already, time flies when you're having fun. I definitely want to touch a little bit on one of your blog posts that you've done, Marshall, which the most recent one, actually, which was the 4 ways to promote your shop using social media. And again, if you haven't gone there, head off to atkinsonshirt.com and
it's atkinsonshirt.com.
Oh, I'm sorry, atkinsontshirt.com. Make sure we'll get that on your lower third. So yeah, I found this to be a really interesting post. It's a question we get a lot, and it's something that is, I guess, obvious but not at the same time. But some so simple things you can do to engage in social media. Because what I find, and we're actually going through now doing an audit of a lot of our clients. Amber, who's recently started in our marketing team, is just going through to connect to our clients on social media. Like their Facebook page, like their Twitter page. And to our surprise, there's a lot of people that just aren't engaging. And when you have a conversation with them, it's because they just don't know where to start. And there's this fear factor of what it is to just be social in business.
Well, to me, the key word in that whole deal is social. The key word is social. It isn't you throwing things out all the time, because people, let's pretend you're at the thing I've always thought about it is pretend you're at a party. If you're the guy who just stands there and talks about yourself incessantly, people are going to go, man, what a bore. Who wants to hang out with that guy, right? So what you want to do is you want to be interested in other people. And if you're interested in your customers, if you're interested in what other people are doing, if you're offering, hey, look at this really great article I found, or I just read this book, or whatever. What you have to find out, especially in these days, is you have to find out what your customers are interested in and where they're hanging out. Because let's say you're a business-to-business printer, is Twitter or LinkedIn better? It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what your customers are doing. You have to do the work. I can't do it for you. You have to go out there and you have to go, okay, here's my customer base. What are they doing? Where are they on? And I should follow them, share, do something with them. It doesn't matter what all the gurus say. It matters what your customers are doing. That's the number one thing, is you got to find out what they're up to and kind of follow them and do something with them and comment or share or whatever. And that's so important these days.
Yeah. Another common reason why I hear from our clients why they don't want to engage is, the classic line is, oh, I don't use Facebook. I don't like Facebook. But again, it comes back to, is that what your customers do? Are your customers in Facebook? Is that where they engage, and is that what they're like? And you don't necessarily have to be yourself personally in social media. You're representing your brand and your company, and you're projecting what your company is as an entity, essentially.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's you just need to differentiate yourself from everybody else. And social media allows you to do that. I mean, and I think one of the big problems people have with social media is they never know what to say, don't know what to do. They don't know how to post or what to post or how to write it or any of that stuff, which is why there's huge industries dedicated to helping people to do that.
Yeah.
Okay? But there's so many apps out there that can help you. I use an app called Buffer. A lot of people use Hootsuite. Both are equally great. I like buffer just because I think it looks better. You know, I'm an aesthetic-driven guy, so that's what I like. But basically, you can schedule your posts. I schedule everything on Sundays when the house is kind of quiet, nothing's going on. I get content sent to me. I subscribe to all types of content-driven things, newsletters, Huffington Post. I mean, you know, movies, social media stuff, whatever. It just all comes to me. They'll send it to you if you just subscribe to it, and then I throw it all in a folder and I pick and choose. And on Sunday, I loop out my buffer feed, and right now it's gone. It's way into the middle of July right now, and I don't have to worry about it. It's scheduled, and you know what's going on for July 4th, which is America's Independence Day next week. You know, that was scheduled like a week ago. You know, I don't have to worry about, oh my God, I got to think about something. And then what you do is you can always pepper new things in. When I create a new blog, I will schedule it out for the days I want it to go out. And then I also will, every once in a while, find old blog articles that I think are relevant. Maybe I just talked to a client about something and I wrote something 2 years ago about a similar subject matter. I'll throw it into my social media feed because maybe somebody else is having that same challenge.
Yep.
And I think a good rule of thumb for people to think about is what I call the 80-20 rule, which is, you know, the Pareto principle. You guys probably heard about that. But I like to do 80% other people's stuff, 20% me. You know, because if it's 100% me, the people go, well, who wants to listen to that doofus, right?
Yeah.
80% of other people's content could be an article, something about a customer, something about whatever, you know, new color. You know, I just read an article, they discovered a new color blue.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, that's in my social media feed. It's going to come out in, I don't know, 2 weeks or something.
Yep,
you know, and it's a new pigment they just discovered. And it's going to, and so that type of stuff is super interesting when you think about all the applications and all the people I'm connected with. And I guarantee you, somebody's going to like it, somebody's going to retweet it, they're going to share it, they're going to comment on it or whatever. And what's great is when somebody does that, that's essentially just like at a party, you know, somebody walking up to you and going, hey, Brendan, hey, did you see you got a blue hoodie on? They just discovered a new color blue. And then you start talking about that, and that gives you the opportunity for engagement to talk about what they're up to, and then you can get new clients from that. That's the power of social media. It isn't just throwing things up there and going, hey, nobody went to my site.
Yeah.
And it just drops off a cliff if you just wait for people to come to you. So if you're like a spider in a web waiting for traffic, you're dead. You got to go out there and get it. You got to go out there and grab it. And social media allows you to do that because as soon as somebody likes something, you can private message them. Nobody has to know you're talking, you know, or you can follow them or whatever. And that's how you build your traffic, your followers, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing what 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit do to a color. Quite crazy.
Right.
But I guess we're getting a bit of an echo. I'm not sure that was from Alex. Nope, we're all good now. I guess the important part there that you mentioned was share. And you don't need permission to share other people's content that they've posted on social. In fact, they will love you for sharing their content. That's the idea of it. Yeah,
correct. And guess what? If you start sharing somebody else's stuff, guess what they're going to do when you post?
Yep.
You're going to share yours because it's kind of a tit-for-tat thing.
Yeah. Awesome tips. Well, look, we could literally speak for an entire session on this, and we actually should do a whole session dedicated, I think, around on social media. I know you mentioned that a while ago, Metek, when we had Eric Campbell on, who also had some great tips. In fact, how awesome would it be to get Eric and Marcel on at the same time?
Oh, Eric's great.
I wouldn't say a word. I would just listen for the entire hour.
Exactly.
Yeah, a hourly hour.
That's what we need to do.
Wow. Like Christmas Day.
Yeah. Yeah, we are running out of time. We've gone now well over an hour. So we definitely will swing back on that one. But I guess, the number one tip that I took out of that is, just jump in and don't think of content. Look at what's out there, like other accounts similar to yours, and just start sharing and engaging.
Right. Yeah. And the one tip I give if somebody's trying to start their social media is perfection is an illusion. Don't wait until, well, I'm going to create the perfect blog, or I'm
Yeah.
going to make an infographic that's going to be so awesome, and then guess what? You never publish it because you keep screwing around with it. Just what I call birth the baby. Just go and just keep going, and you'll get better the more you do it, but you can't wait till you're perfect because that'll never happen.
Yep, absolutely. As we say, keep agile, make change, or make and break and change, right? And don't
Right.
stop. All right. Well, thanks very much. So again, head over to Marshall's website, AtkinsonT-shirt.com, and you don't mind if I share your Twitter out as well?
Oh, please do.
Twitter.com/Atkinson T-shirt as well.
Yeah.
Lots of great stuff. Like and share like we do. And yeah, once again, Marshall, thanks for having me. We really appreciate your time.
Hey, it was lots of fun. I appreciate it. You guys rock.
No worries at all. We'll have you back for sure.
You too, Marshall. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
All right, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Deco Show. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.